my hand cam too. You know, that's pretty good. I think Street Fighter 6 overall, I learned a lot. Thank you very much. You're very welcome, dude. So overall, I think Street Fighter 6, 1 month into the game, 1 month into the game, is a really, really, really solid package. Okay, it has its ups, it has its downs, but I think overall this is the most well-rounded fighting game launch we've ever had. So I kind of want to talk about it, right? And we'll start with the gameplay. We'll start with some good, and we'll start with some bad. So, the good, it's extremely accessible, has modern and classic, 2 different control schemes for people who are trying to pick up the game, either and play it immediately or delve down into the deep mechanics of the game when it comes to it. The drive gauge gives you everything that you have access to with your character minus supers immediately from round start, making characters feel as powerful as they can as soon as you put your hands on them. Very cool. Burnout system. I like the burnout system. I think the burnout system is a way to incentivize resource management without just CAs, right? Without just level 1, level 2, level 3 super arts. Big fan of that. And because of the burnout system, because of the drive system, and because of super arts and critical arts, we don't have a true, real, broken comeback mechanic in the game. And I think that really helps for that's going to help a lot for the longevity of the game, right? Like, you're not going to get like, oh, I got scrubbed out by a V-trigger in Season 1 of Street Fighter 5. Like, that's not going to happen. Oh, I got fucking X-Factor to Sparking Blast. Not going to happen. And I think that for the way the game is designed, it feels really good. Let me talk about the drive mechanics that I like. Drive Rush. For the most part, I think that's really cool. It's a nice way to have combo extensions in a Street Fighter game that we've never really been able to have before, outside of like Street Fighter 4 with Focus, with like Focus Dashes. And it feels a little less broken than Focus Dashes, if I'm being honest. I think even though Focus Dashes were more meter intensive, more resource intensive, because everything spent those meters, Focus was very easy to get because you could parry to get Focus, right? You would parry, you would like focus, cancel or whatever to get resource, right? You would get your focus gauge, and you would gain. I think you even gain meter from that, right? And it would just build your ultra, right? We don't have ultra, okay, but we do have Drive Rush. Drive Rush can be used off normals and in neutral. In neutral, it leads to some really wacky neutral skip interactions and kind of disgusting mix-ups and nasty pressure, because everything you do off of Drive Rush is +4 more, except specials, like all normals. And it leads to situations where people are like using it on people's Oki to gain extra pressure. Without it, this game doesn't really have a lot of plus-turn buttons, if I'm honest. And I think that it's kind of necessary when you think of the way that offense is structured in this game. If you have the chance to, using a Drive Rush normal allows you to get pressure in situations where otherwise you just wouldn't in this game. And I like that. Drive Rush off buttons, also really cool. You can use it to like frame trap people. You can use it once again for plus frames. You can use it to extend combos. Super big fan. I have no problem with it. I think that like maybe the fact that it's like normalized is simple, but I mean, I guess that makes it accessible, right? There's no reason for it not to be, and especially with the new change where now you can just press the parry button to Drive Rush in combos, which is really, really cool. Parry plus forward or neutral parry. Drive Impact. I'm going to talk about Drive Impact because I like it. I like its current spot, right? I think that there's a lot of moves in the game that are scrub checks, right? Like, people don't like DI because they think DI is like a scrubby mechanic, but I'm going to be quite honest with you. I think DI is a scrub killer. I think the way DI works functionally is very powerful in the front end, and as you beat it, as you get better against it, it gets significantly weaker. And it no longer feels as if it's a scrubby mechanic, and instead it feels like it's a scrub buster mechanic. It beats up people who do not know how to play around it. And playing around it gets easier the better you are at the game, or the more normals your character has to special cancel, or have little recovery, right? Like if you're using a move that is 18 frames total, you can never get DI'd on that move. I don't know if there's any moves that are truly 18 frames total that aren't like jabs or something, but I think DI is in a really good spot. It's like 26 or 24 frames. It's like not extremely fast, but it's not extremely slow. It's got a very, very big sparked telegraphed beginning, and the end is completely punishable. You can neutral jump it, you can parry it, you can backdash it, run away from it, whatever. You can OD reversal it if you do it towards the later part when the armor is gone, right? There's a lot. You can even level 3 it. There's a lot of counterplates the move, but it feels very strong at low level, which I guess is kind of obnoxious. OD moves, or what were they called before? EX moves? OD moves, EX moves. EX moves, I was thinking meter burn because I'm a Mortal Kombat and NRS player, but it's fine. EX moves, OD moves. OD moves are really cool. I think that them being attached to the drive gauge instead of attached to the super art gauge is sick, right? It lets you have your most powerful version of your character from round start, and it's up to you to decide how to spend all those resources. It adds a lot of like extra pressure on you when you're first learning the game, but as you kind of learn the flow, the ebb and flow of the drive gauge, it doesn't feel so bad. And especially so because the drive gauge is also your block gauge, right? It's also your block gauge. You'll see how I didn't talk about two specific mechanics when it comes to the drive system, because I think right now I don't like them. I'll say I like parry. I like drive parry, and I like the idea of drive reversal, but I don't like them as they currently stand. Parry feels extremely overpushed. I think the two best things to use with your resources right now when it comes to the drive system are parry and drive rush, and those are basically one and the same, because to drive rush, you have to parry, right? Let's be real here. Even if you're doing like the instant drive rush, which you don't see the flash of the parry, it is still technically flash parry drive rush, right? Parry doesn't change frame data, and you can block out of it all the time. The only time it changes frame data is when you get a perfect parry. Perfect parry scaling, I think, is perfectly balanced in the way that it works now. And the reason why I say that is because I believe parry is extremely strong. Flash parrying people's options, flash parrying on wake up, flash parrying jump ins, flash parrying after plus frame situations to try to catch someone using the fastest possible option to frame trap you, and you getting rewarded for it is huge, is so strong. You're doing it for the positioning, you're doing it for the meter gain, you're doing it for the meter loss on your opponent's side. It does not matter that the damage is not that high. It's a good thing the damage isn't that high, because parry is significantly easier and safer than it ever has been in a Street Fighter game, right? We had Street Fighter 3 parry, you have to press forward. There is no inherent risk to parrying in this game except for getting thrown. And because you can block out a parry, as long as you are holding back or down back, you will block the next incoming mix-up if you only want it to flash parry, as long as you block correctly on the overhead or low, right? If you don't, you do get punish countered. So that is a nice little check and balance. But I think parry is extremely overtuned and very pushed right now. Drive reversal. I think drive reversal is the weakest way to spin your meter right now, right? The only real application for drive reversal seems to be using drive reversal at the end of special moves that would be plus, but have a lot of recovery. So you can drive reversal the special move so that you don't have to deal with the plus frames, or drive reversaling someone who spent 3 bars of meter drive rushing you. So countering the best way to spend drive meter, or beating very reckless advances. In a lot of other situations, drive reversal can straight up get destroyed. You can see it. So if you're using a light or a medium, a lot of times you can just choose to block. You can also use level 3s on it most of the time. If you have the reactions, I was doing it in Classic and I was doing it in Modern on a stream the other day, just testing it out, seeing if it would work. And you can absolutely wholeheartedly react to drive reversal if you are not in a button with a level 3 and just destroy someone, delete someone, take 2 bars plus the amount you're gonna get from using the level 3 and punish counter, which takes a little more. That is a huge swing, and it feels very scary when it comes to being a defensive option. Why not just use parry? Like, it feels like parry is so strong that they thought maybe if drive reversal was also strong, that no one would want to be on offense because you'd have to deal with 2 really strong defensive options. But I think if they just lowered the strength of parry and increased the strength of drive reversal, I'd be happy. I don't even mind the drive reversal punishable on block. As a matter of fact, I'd rather be a little more punishable on block so that when it's in burnout, it's not safe. Because I believe it's -8 or -6. So in burnout, guess what? Depending on the spacing, you are not getting a fucking punish on that shit. Them's the breaks. That's how it works right now, and I'm not a fan of it, right? I think that in burnout, like when you're in burnout and someone drive reverses you, it's extremely strong, or relatively strong, compared to when it's not. And then if your opponent ever has level 3 or is using lights and mediums to pressure you and check you, it's relatively weak. Like, it's not strong enough to be in the same league or contention as Perry. That's basically all I have to say about the gameplay stuff, right? I think that the overall arcing system of the game, most of the core gameplay stuff is fine, right? Like anti-air invul moves, backdashes being throw invul, everyone usually generally having some sort of an anti-air button, even if it's not anti-air, like even if it's not head invul or upper body invul or air button invul, whatever we want to call it these days. Everyone having some sort of reversal, whether it be their level 2, their level 3, their level 1, an OD move of some kind. Everyone feels like they can play, but like they aren't normalized. Like every character doesn't feel like they have the exact same tools, but they have the tools to make their game plan usually very cohesively work. And I think that's really sick. That's the reason why I specifically want to talk about the drive system, because it's so new in comparison to other things in Street Fighter 6. So it's really hard to give it a honest review without talking about that first. And I think that if they just kind of tweak drive parry a little bit, and tweak drive reverse a little bit, I think that the drive system overall would be really, really nice and cohesive, and maybe it would be good enough that the only thing that people are going to complain about in bronze leagues is going to be drive impact, which, I mean, it's going to happen. It's just something that you have to learn to play through. Now, I want to talk about the netcode and the matchmaking. These are some of the most important things to a fighting game's longevity when it comes to online play. I am happy to say that the netcode is almost flawless. Almost. It has one major issue. It is rollback netcode, and it has really, really solid rollback netcode in most instances. There is one problem with the rollback netcode. If there is ever a spike and your ping, your MS, goes above, I believe the threshold is 100. When you are under 100, it is 0 delay frames. When you are over 100, it is 1 delay frame. If your ping goes above like 150 or 200, it goes up to 2 frames. If your ping goes above that, per 100 or per 50, it adds an additional delay frame. Those delay frames stay for the entirety of the round, which I think is whack. I think it shouldn't be variable delay with rollback. That is the entire point of rollback netcode. I think they should change it so you can set your delay. Set yourself a 2-frame delay, set yourself a 1-frame delay, a 3-frame delay, and you play on that delay, and that is what you set it as. The rollback will handle the rest, and that is what rollback netcode is supposed to do. Have faith in your netcode. Please, Capcom. Have faith in your netcode. Allow us to set the rollback, or as a matter, allow us to set the delay frame. And if not, just set a delay frame. Set a 2, set a 1, set a 3, whatever you want to set it to. But at least online will always be consistent in that way, right? And if I can set the delay frames, I can choose. Okay, well, I'm gonna set it to 2, and I'm not gonna play anyone in Japan. I'm gonna set it to 3, and you know what? Maybe I'll play some Europeans. Maybe I'll play some people from Japan. I am in the middle of the United States. I'm in Texas. Okay. And I'm happy to say that when I've played people from other states and other countries, because I have played people from other states and other countries, cross-continental, like all the way across the country, all the way up to New York, in California, the game runs flawlessly. Almost no problems. The only problems I get is when there's huge packet loss when it comes to me or my opponent. There's nothing rollback can do there. When I play people from other countries, relatively stable. Sometimes it's 2-frame delay with 200 MS. Sometimes it's 150 MS and we'll go up to 200 and we'll put us at 2 delay frames. But it feels stable and it feels solid. Wi-Fi definitely has one-sided rollbacks. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you say you haven't seen them. Me and shoutouts to my friend Wonderful Deluxe played Wi-Fi to wired, and he said his connection was flawless, and I was watching him roll back all the fuck over the place. So this game unfortunately does have one-sided rollbacks. They're not unplayable. Like, the connection was solid. If it was in ranked, I might have been a little upset, but for casual matches, it worked out just fine. You are allowed to say no to Wi-Fi players, so that is something that you just thims the bricks, right? If we're gonna ask for a feature, I think we should ask for automatic denying of Wi-Fi. Now, that's the good and the bad for the netcode. Matchmaking, on the other hand, is a full fucking problem. I like the game, I love the game, but why am I region locked when it comes to the online and ranked ladder? The online casual match and online ranked match. If I'm not playing in Battle Hub, if I'm not playing against friends in other states, in other countries, why am I only, as a Texan, playing against other people from Texas and people from Mexico? Why are you locking me to only these 2 regions. Like I said, Capcom, please have faith in your netcode. Give me people from California. Give me people from Oklahoma. Give me people from Illinois. Give me people from Florida. Give me people from New York. Like, why am I specifically locked to such a small region of the game? I swear to you, as someone who plays this game, I think I already have over 100 hours in the game. I'm sure I have over 100 hours in the game. I have played the same people. I have played the same Kin, the same Lily, the same Luke, the same Marissa. I have played them multiple times. Shoutouts to Tony, Toeknee. Shoutouts to Tony, bro. Tony is a Lily player that I have played at least 10 fucking times in rank because the netcode, because the matchmaking is region locked, and it shouldn't be. There's no reason for a game with this good of netcode to region lock the matchmaking. Fix it. Get away from it. Take that shit away. Open the fucking floodgates. Open the floodgates and add settable delay, and I think that the game will feel a lot better when it comes to the online and matchmaking. Cool. Now, let's get into the nerdy shit. Practice mode. Practice mode, I'm going to say it now. This is also one of the best practice modes I've ever seen in a fighting game. I think that the practice mode for this game has so many things that we need. It lets you character select super easily, lets you change stage, which doesn't matter. Character specific settings, has them all, basically has them all, maybe not all of them. There might be some that are missing. There might be some that are missing here, right? You can even choose your control style for both sides, for P1 and P2, or for you and the computer. It lets you test things very easily. You can choose the start position, the game speed. You can even like change things here. You can pause them. You can put it at standing. You can put it at 50%. You can even choose input delay up to 5 frames, which is, I guess, maybe the highest they have their delay frame set to, which is cool because that means if you're playing against someone and you know that it's going to be 3 or 4 frame delay consistently, you can practice against that timing. It's kind of weird that you can set the input delay in training mode, but you can't set the input delay or input delay value in online. Just throwing that out there. It'd be nice if you could just set that so you could practice on that. Shortcut settings, all your control settings, your command list. I think you can even view the command list in modern and in... No, you cannot, I don't think. Yeah, you can. You can see it in classic and in modern. Yeah, that's really cool. So it doesn't matter which one you're playing on. You can see classic and modern. Right? Oh, and it's funny because what that shows you is it actually shows you when moves are missing, which is pretty funny. Anyways, environment settings. There's all these different kinds of things. There's combo practice, anti-air practice, offensive pressure practice, throw escape practice, very important. Standard CPU battle, whip punish practice, drive impact practice, and shows you about the frame meter, which I think is super cool. The frame meter is why I think that this fighting game, this specific version of Street Fighter, is so easy to understand. Once you get down this frame meter and once you have a base understanding of frame data, this helps so much for getting you there. And there's even look at that. There's even a full description here. And now you can see what all your moves do. I'm on modern because I was teaching someone stuff. I'm not a modern player, okay? Don't beat me up. Sorry. Right? Shows you your full amount of recovery. Shows you what it is on hit. Shows you what it is on block if you make them block. And then it has all of the different things here, the virtual controller, action timing display, cancel timing display, attack data, right? Virtual controller if you want to make sure you're actually getting your buttons right, like you think you are. I'm doing this half circle back. Wait, oh, I'm missing my back over, right? Really, really cool. All the different parameters here, super normal for fighting game stuff. Screen display set, reversal settings. Block reversal, wake up reversal, and reversal after taking damage. You can set multiple. You can randomize these so they happen differently. You can drill yourself into beating these options. Very cool. Same thing with the recording settings. You can put multiple recording settings here and have it choose between them. It'll just, random selection rate. It'll do this one more often, this one least often, this one second most. Very tight. I fucking love this. This all is super, super cool. I have no issues with the training mode at all. The only thing I wish is that the input buffer or the input reader was better, but that doesn't have anything specific to do with training mode. That has something specifically to do with the game engine, and it kind of sucks. Big deal. Now, what is left to talk about? When it comes to the actual core gameplay, when it comes to the fighting. The last thing is the online hub, which is the battle hub. The battle hub. The battle hub, the battle hub, the battle hub. I think the battle hub is pretty sweet, especially when it comes to a anime styled battle hub that we usually don't see in games like this, in very standard 2D fighters, right? We don't have anything like that in Mortal Kombat or Injustice. We don't have anything like that in previous Street Fighter games. It was just a lobby system only. There's a standard lobby system, there's standard rank, there's standard casual match that you never have to touch those settings. You never have to touch the battle hub. But if you want to, you have your nice little cool avatar, and you can sit down on cabinets like you would in an anime game and interact and socialize with people. There is extreme battle mode in there as well, just like for offline, and there is cabinets that have retro games, right? You can finish challenges to unlock stuff to buy clothes for your character, along with World Tour, which we'll do a separate review for. If I think World Tour plus the single player stuff in general is worth it for the $60 that you pay. And there's also a battle pass, right? So there's the battle pass, and there is battle hub, right? Fighting pass, as it were. Sorry. I think that it's fun, and I think it has its charm. But just like any sort of mode like that, it will eventually kind of just like lose its charm. Like, oh, I don't need to go here today. I'll just hit casual match. Oh, I'll just hit ranked match. But the option is there for those people who do want to socialize while playing video games. And I think that's really cool, because a lot of people just sit at their desk or at their game station or on their couch, and they just play the game. And they have that option. And there are other people who play as a more social experience, and they have that option. And that's not being taken away from anyone, and you can do either. And that's very cool. I think that that's pretty sweet. Overall, I think Street Fighter 6 is a really dope fighting game package. Is a really complete package when it comes to like a video game. Like, it feels pretty complete, right? It doesn't feel like a fighting game complete package. It feels like a complete package. The only thing we really don't have is like a single player story driven, NRS style mode like that. We don't have that, and I don't think we need it. I think that World Tour does a pretty good job of being like the quirky single player mode that people are going to play and sink time into because they love the lore of Street Fighter. The roster is a really nice size for the beginning of the game, right? We now have 19 characters. We had 18 before, but now Rashid has hit the scene. There was a few problems with Rashid, but they've hopefully fixed all of those. Their roster has a good amount of well-rounders, rushdown characters, 3 grapplers from the start, wacky, zany, tricky characters like Honda, who's a more defensive one, and Blanca, DJ, right? The roster has substance. For it being 18 characters, 19 characters now, it had substance from the start, and I think that the way they designed Rashid is really cool, so we'll see even more cool DLC characters in the future. I'm not pressed that Capcom will give us bad characters. I think that they've been doing a good job already. So overall, I like Street Fighter 6. Coming from 3D fighters, Rashido, exactly. Coming from Street Fighter, coming from Soul Calibur, coming from Mortal Kombat and Injustice, I like this game. I think that it was relatively easy to understand, even as someone who doesn't really like linked-based systems. I don't like links. I like chains or a magic series or command combos. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. I'm so used to those. I'm so used to the dial-up combos of Injustice and NRS games and Tekken and Soul Calibur, but it felt intuitive enough to get into even in Classic, because I play on Classic. But teaching people the game and showing them how to play and them using Modern is also very cool. It allows more people to play the game, and I'm all for it. I'm not a Classic I'm a Modern apologist. I love Modern. I don't even play the shit, and I love it because it allows more people who wouldn't be able to get into the game to do so. And that is probably my favorite thing about this Street Fighter, and hopefully more fighting games in the future, making fighting games more accessible so we can get more people into them, because it's a dying franchise for fucking old people. Anyways, if you have $60 that you want to spend and you want a cool fighting game to play a lot of people with and be able to socialize with, be able to sit around and do nothing and just grind ranked, I think this is the game. I think you're going to find a character you like if you like 2D fighters, and if you can get used to 2D fighters, there's going to be a character for you in this 19 character roster. And I think that it's a pretty overall solid, full featured package when it comes to a video game. It gets like a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 for me. I think that it's a really, really good game. It has its quirks, it has its problems, but I think every game, especially fighting games, have those issues for people because you can't please everyone when it comes to a fighting game. But it's got my $60, and I'm not mad about it. I'm not like, shit, I really shouldn't have bought this game. I don't think I'm gonna like it, right? I buy every fighting game. I try to, and some of them I don't like. Some of them I'm like, yikes, this shit sucked. This isn't one of them. This game deserves the money if you like fighting games and if you want something to give a shot to until you're waiting for your next big favorite single-player game, or Project L if you're waiting on Project L like the rest of us. Anyways, this has been Beanie Thuggish for the YouTubes talking about Street Fighter 6, 1 month in review, how I feel about the game so far. This is all subject to change, but I think so far it's left a very good impression on me, and I think it'll leave a very good impression on you too if you are an avid fan of fighting games in general. Signing out, saying subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below if you're a big fan of Street Fighter 6, if you've played other Street Fighter games in the past, or if this is your first Street Fighter game, or if you're on the fence and now you've watched this video and you kind of want to pick the game up now because of me. Leave it in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys for watching. This has been Beanie signing out. Peace.